What an exhausting week it's been. I cannot remember the last time I did so much couch rotting. Um, well, honestly, the last, since November, I've kind of been doing a lot more of that than I'm used to. But this week took it to another level this past week. Really lots of body tired, body soreness for seemingly no reason, weird sleep, crazy dreams. Have y'all been having the craziest dreams you can remember? I haven't had this crazy of dreams since the end of 2019. It is really gnarly for me right now in the dream world. I don't know what to chalk that up to Neptune moving into Aries. I don't know. I don't have fully an explanation yet, but the dreams have been insane. And so has like the body tiredness, not really sleeping well. Like my body's super tired. My ankles are doing weird things. If you saw my video about this that I posted to socials, about how really, we're not feeling like doing a whole lot right now. Things are moving forward in the ways that they need to be incrementally, maybe a lot more slower than we're used to, or that we want things to move forward. And that's because we really need to be taking care of our bodies right now and really honoring our tiredness, really honoring our body's need for rest at the moment because it is extreme. And it has been ever present for me of like, oh, I need to take it easy. I need to chill, really honoring my body's rhythms. Like some days I don't feel like walking or exercising, other days I do, right? And it's really important to honor that right now, as all of the things that are moving through Aquarius are creating this really funky energy in our nervous system and in our body. Um, so that has really been my biggest theme of this past week, as well as just focusing fully more than ever on my internal world and my internal energy and keeping it intentional, keeping it precious, really focusing on the energy I want to create and be in versus letting the world dictate that for me. Right. And I had a conversation with a man at a coffee shop the other day, very much along those lines of it's really easy right now to give into the fear and give into being scared or being worried or being anxious, all things related to fear, right? It's really easy to get sucked into that and to let it ripple out and leak into every aspect of our life. And more than ever, again, we are really needing to cultivate this inner sense of peace and joy and through intentionality of what we actually want to be feeling and cultivating more of that so that that ripples out instead of perpetuating more fear, more anxiety. The world doesn't need more of that. The world needs more of love, compassion, caring. The more we can focus on that for ourselves and give that to ourselves, the more that will ripple out into the world. Reminds me of a quote. I don't remember who, maybe one of you watching will remember who said this quote of like, I wanted to change the world and I thought I'm going to butcher it because I don't remember it exactly, but it was like, I thought I wanted to change the world, but then I realized I had to start with myself. That's kind of this energy of really, really, really focusing on our internal reality at the moment and clearing whatever is there for us to clear and feel so we can heal. Feel it to heal it. That is the major focus of this upcoming week, is cleaning up anything residual in our bodies, our mind, our feeling, emotional fields, systems, really clearing out the final purge. It's clearing out of the residual gunk that's still kind of there emotionally for us to deal with and feel. And that's not always comfortable, and we're not always perfect at it. We're human beings having a human experience that looks messy sometimes. I had a moment, I don't remember where the moon was. It must have been was it in Cancer? This week has been such a blur. I don't remember exactly, but I had a night this past week where I couldn't sleep, and I have been having this pain in my right hip. And so I couldn't sleep. The pain was really bothering me in my hip, and I just started like crying and purging all these emotions that I didn't even know were there. This might have been Thursday. And it just all overcame me at once. A big like emotional, we could call it a breakdown, but it was really, when that happens, it's really a portal and a gateway to a breakthrough, right? Oftentimes there's these emotional things we have to look at and feel so we can clear the way for the other side of that, which is more embodiment, more integration, more healing. And I was crying, I was like sobbing, the pain in my hip was becoming unbearable, and I just gave it a sound to release through me of like, I just needed to yell and scream and like be kind of an animal for a little bit. And that is the most cathartic thing we can do whenever we're in pain or feeling something really extreme, is like let it out through our throat. It's kind of a shamanic thing I have picked up and learned from, I don't know if y'all know Shaman Durek. He's amazing for things like this, like how you can really work through what's coming up in your body emotionally, or even pain. Pain is the body's signal that something needs to be looked at, felt, given space, giving attention, given love, right? And so a lot of that can be released through sound and also just holding awareness for whatever is coming up. So anyways, I had a big moment of that, and it was very cathartic. The pain was gone as soon as I was like done doing what I needed to do to release it, like letting out crazy sounds of like frustration and anger. Like as soon as I was done with all of that and I felt it, like, okay, I'm actually, I don't have anything else to like let out about this vocally, the pain was gone. It was the craziest thing. And I know this intellectually because I've had moments like this before where I have done that. But it still blows my mind how amazing we are at healing ourselves when we allow the space for it. So that was a little bit of how my past week went. And again, there's more of that a little bit that's going to come up this week. Anything that's still kind of there underneath the surface to feel and heal. Is there anything else I want to say about this upcoming week before we get into the horoscopes? I will be giving another sneak peek of next week at the end of the video. So after you watch your horoscope, click to that section of the video and I'll give you a sneak peek of the transits for, what would that be? February 9th? The week of February 9th? Oh my God. I'm so excited for February. Okay, there is more I want to say in general. I am so excited for February. I've really been looking forward to this month for months. I really went deep into the energy of February, the transits of February overall, and my predictions and the 2026 overview that lives in my membership. If you didn't watch it live, those of you that are in the membership, you can watch the replay if you haven't already, or join the membership to have access to it, as well as 100+ hours of other teachings that I've taught on astrocartography, astrology, human design, things that live in the membership you have access to, as well as that 2026 overview and update. We go really deep into the first 6 months of 2026 and what to look forward to, my predictions, major transits. And I, if you've already seen it, you know I'm so excited about February. Like this whole month is a ramp up to major change, and really moving forward into our new life. And like I said at the beginning of this overview as well, it's kind of like we're taking the steps we need to, as small as they may seem or be. We are doing what we need to move forward incrementally, and that is going to compound. What is that called? The compound effect of incremental changes lead up to big changes over time. We're really in that energy right now. So trust in that, trust in your process, trust where you're led, trust in the journey of it all, that it will get you to your destination. very soon. Sooner than it feels right now, I promise you that. And with that, I believe I've said all I want to say about this upcoming week, the 1st of February. I'm so fucking excited. So excited. All right, let's get into the horoscopes. Hi, Aries Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your creative passions. What has really come alive for you in your creative passions and things you want to put out to the world and share? This could be in a big alignment with long-term goals and visions for yourself that are morphing, that are changing, that are transforming at this time as well, that you've gotten maybe some more clarity about the last couple weeks or so. What is alive for you right now, and what do you need to take action on as it relates to that? Going to be a big theme of Monday. There could be something around that needing to take action or be seen in a way that you wouldn't normally do, that kind of heals a version of yourself that you're stepping out of and away from at this time. Tuesday, the emotional focus shifts onto your work, onto your daily routine. There could be an emotional release on Tuesday as well as it relates to that, maybe related to health or mindset or what you do on your daily basis, maybe work as well, and releasing some form of perfectionism to step into work in a new way related to this creative passion that's been alive for you that you're wanting to share more of, and maybe even being invited to share more of. Wednesday, there could be some emotional tension between what's going on with work and maybe some subconscious things, or maybe your grounding practices or spiritual practices. There might be a need for you to balance what's going on in your kind of day to day with what's going on in your subconscious, or really balancing physical and mental health. On Wednesday, there could be something that comes up around that, needing to really be disciplined with a practice that you've been on and off about. And there could be, due to that, a major change in your finances, or a major change in what you're doing with money, how you're making it. More could be coming in because of these changes that you're making, and these things, these ways you're being more disciplined with your mental and physical health, especially spiritual practices. Thursday, the emotional focus shifts into your relationships. There could be something about that puts tension on a new you that is emerging. But you might be socializing, and that might kind of bring up stuff as well related to identity shifts that you're going through and have been going through for the last year or so. Thursday and into the weekend could be a busy time for you. You might be spending time with friends or meeting people out and about. It feels like a good time to socialize, maybe put yourself out there and network. Friday, though, there could be something about a relationship that challenges something within your inner sense of home or stability, or maybe even with your physical home or family. But also, it feels like you're going to have support to deal with whatever this is, or to make the most of whatever is challenging. There's some sort of harmony that comes outside of you around it. Let me know how that shows up for you on Friday, because that's kind of specific for you, Aries. And then as we get into Saturday, Mercury moves into your area of the subconscious, of mental health. So there's even more of a focus on that. And again, your spiritual practices, what you're doing to take care of your mental health. And the moon is still in your area of relationships early on Saturday, so there could be something about that comes up as well. It's just a good time to be around people, and maybe have support in ways that you need. And there could be something around that Friday into Saturday that heals something about you that you didn't even know was still kind of there to heal. Later on Saturday, the emotional focus shifts into your resources, your money, and challenges a transformation that's happening with your long-term goals or vision. So there could be something related to what came up earlier in the week with money that you're maybe you realize you want to shift or change on Saturday. Then as we get into Sunday, there just kind of feels like a lot of emotional friction or or challenges between resources, debt, investments, and taxes, things like that, and your long-term goals and visions, maybe social media if that applies. But there's also, and this is a theme of the week, there's challenges, but there's harmony in other ways. This could be something about your values or how you view money or how you use money changing related to that as well. So that is your week ahead, Aries. I'm excited for you. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Taurus Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your home and family. There could be something really emerging there, something really coming up for you to emotionally clear or look at differently. That could also put tension on what's going on in your career that you're shifting or starting to change and share more about. There could really be some challenges between home, career, and you this week, and really what's going on with you that's shifting your sense of self and your identity. As we head into Tuesday, the emotional focus shifts into your creative passions. There could be something emotionally that you want to release as it relates to that. Maybe uh old outdated versions of you would be really self-critical or perfectionistic about what you shared or what you created and put out into the world, and the new version of you doesn't do that. So there could be an emotional release related to that, maybe a mental kind of mindset shift as well on Tuesday. Wednesday, it feels like there's emotional harmony between what's going on with that, maybe what came up on Tuesday, and supporting this change in you and your identity and your sense of self. I mean, there's been so much change happening literally for you and rippling out to the rest of your life the past 7 years. And right now is a big time of integrating all of that change and processing it and really embodying it and learning what that looks like and feels like for you moving forward. There could be something though, as it relates to that on Wednesday, that again maybe challenges your career or your public image in some way. Maybe you're having to have a hard conversation with someone about that, or really share something on your socials, or as it relates to your career, to really stand up for yourself or your values or something like that. As we get into Thursday, the emotional focus shifts onto your work, your day to day, your health and wellness routine, your physical health, and balancing that with your mental health. There could be some message Wednesday night as you wake up on Thursday that comes through your dreams. I would pay attention to that for sure. But also Thursday might feel a little bit emotionally foggy or spacey as it relates to that. And so it's really important you stay on your practices, meditation, yoga, walking, whatever helps you to ground and kind of clear. Um, because if not, you might just feel a little loopy or like like brain foggy. Friday, the moon is going to add tension to your area of mental health and maybe what's healing about your subconscious, or there's been some big, again, all identity shifts for you, Taurus, of like what's going on underneath the surface that's coming up for you to really heal and look at and deal with. There could be some emotional conflict or something that puts tension on that on Friday. It could come through somebody you normally just talk to every day. It could come through an errand you run, or a neighbor, somewhere you go, something like that's kind of like normal for you to go there, or but this day you go and it feels different, and it maybe triggers some old version of you, or it triggers some old wound for you to really face and look at. Again, like I said in the overview, there's a lot of emotional healing this week related to an old version of ourselves, and really learning through new experiences. We have to retrain ourselves in these new experiences to fully heal and integrate and not repeat the past. And so that feels like on Friday, there's something about that that really comes up for you in a big way. As we get into Saturday, the emotional focus shifts onto your relationships, and there's something about that that could challenge a change you're making in your career. That is going to be the focus of the weekend for you, Taurus, is really on what emotionally about your relationships is challenging or conflicting with what you want to do in your career, and how can you maybe come into a greater sense of balance around that? Maybe getting more space from people or a certain relationship could help as well, or maybe diversifying who you're spending time around. Um, and so you can have more of be with your creative muse, or have more time to really like get into your own space and energy and create from that place. So that's how you end out the week, Taurus. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Gemini Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your communication, your belief systems, as well as your day to day errands, or even who you talk to and where you go on a daily basis related to your belief systems and your communication patterns. Whatever came up with the full moon for you on Sunday really gets heightened on Monday, and there could be something you're emotionally kind of pushed to look at differently as it relates to your mindset, your belief systems. As we get into Tuesday, the emotional focus shifts into your home and your family. There could be a big emotional release around that. Maybe related to, a physical home you're releasing, or just a mindset about home or family that you're letting go of. This could also be a purge of possessions, or kind of just organizing things that you were emotionally tied to, and you're realizing like, okay, I don't need to hold on to the thing to have the emotional memory or whatever it is, resonance. It's like you're cleaning out the clutter, the things in your closet you put off kind of energy. As we head into Wednesday, it feels like that whatever you did on Tuesday to emotionally release something really supports shifts a further shift in your subconscious, your belief systems, what's changing about your mental health that you're taking more care of, that you're cleaning up, that you've been really reflecting on wanting to change, and now it's time to integrate and make those changes that you have been needing to and realizing you need to. this could My gosh, this could relate to speaking up for yourself more than you normally would. And really being more communicative about your needs and things. As we head into Thursday, the emotional focus shifts onto your creative passions, children, if it relates to you, but mostly like what you're creating, what you're putting out into the world, your joy, your passion, your maybe obsession. There could be something around that, though, that adds tension to what's changing about your social media or long-term goals, visions, community as well. Maybe you're really wanting to align yourself with more spiritual people who share those kind of values. But there could be something around maybe just a current relationship that is kind of challenging your ability to step into a new direction or surround yourself with different people. Also on Thursday, there could be some challenges between those subconscious shifts you're working on and an old outdated belief system or philosophy of life. It's like a lot of your worldview is changing, and what you maybe thought of as possible for yourself is majorly changing, and you're stepping into a new, like a whole new reality related to what subconscious things you've been shifting, or belief systems, or mental health stuff you've been working through. It's really shifting your life in a major way, and you start to really see that take hold as we end out this week. Friday, there could be some emotional challenges between what you're creating, putting out into the world, and maybe money, or what's changing about money. Um, but it also feels like, again, the way that you're viewing life is differently. So it's is different. So it's no longer affecting you in the way that it would have in the past. And you're really cultivating a greater sense of faith as it relates to the direction you're headed with all this career stuff that might be changing, or what you're doing differently with career, moving in a new direction there. It's like you have more faith than you did before because you've been doing the inner work to really believe in yourself and believe in the power of taking inspired action when you're led to. As we get into Saturday, the emotional focus shifts into your day to day work, your physical health. There could be something about that again challenges your mindset, or challenges your perspective, or a belief system you didn't realize was there. There It's like you dig up something and then you're like, "Okay, wow, I didn't realize I was viewing it that way or believing that about this." And then you shift it and then something else comes up deeper that's like, "Oh, wow, okay, and then this and then that." And that's kind of how your week progresses. Gemini is the more we get into the week, it's like the deeper you get into these ways of viewing life that didn't serve you so you can shift them and move forward without them um into the new year. But it's not all challenges. There is a lot of harmony and good things that come from this. And really, again, maybe that's part of the mindset shifts that's happening. It's like you're starting to really see that more easily than ever before of like, I see the good from this. Before maybe you need the hindsight or whatever. You know how they say hindsight is 2020. It's like you're starting to see the hindsight more clearly in the present. Um as opposed to needing time to see it. Does that make sense? So there's a lot of big shifts for you internally this week that also create big external shifts as well, especially on Sunday. There could be this big push you get to move into a new direction with work and career and money that is related to all this subconscious underneath the surface stuff that is shifting for you. So that's how we end out your week, Gemini. Let me know how that resonates in the comments and how this is showing up for you. I'll see you next week. Hi, Cancer Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your money. Whatever came up with the full moon in Leo we had on Sunday around money is getting a deeper look, a better integration. There could be something about your resources or external finances that you're learning you need to communicate more or share more with people or something about money is a huge focus and your mindset around it as well is getting a major transformation and overhaul. And that's going to really, there's maybe something around that is triggering a change in your long-term goals or your visions or social media, also community, friendships, but it also supports some positive healing in your career or how you are being seen or want to be seen in the public space and how you want to be known to the world. There could be something around that on Tuesday that receives some big emotional release, as the emotional focus on Tuesday is on letting go of an outdated mindset, maybe related to being overly critical or perfectionistic of yourself or your work, what you do, how you serve with your gifts and your skill sets. But as we head into Wednesday, it feels like there's a lot of support around the shift there. And now all of a sudden that is becoming more external and you're starting to maybe take action in the real world related to what has been shifting in you internally. And there could be a big breakthrough you have Wednesday into Thursday around that as well, maybe around money as it relates to your long-term goals and visions. Also on Thursday, the emotional focus shifts into your home, your family. There could be something around that, maybe related to what new chapter you're stepping into with career and public image that receives some tension. It's like your home or your family in some way is really putting tension on what's going on in your career. But again, it's kind of all about balance and learning. How to not give too much energy or weight to one or the other. Friday, there could be more around that comes up that really challenges you and how you're expanding in your sense of self or your identity and more messages, more message, another message about balance and coming into a greater relationship with yourself of how you care for and nurture and support yourself when things are challenging. It could also relate to these mindset shifts that are happening for you as well, and learning to talk to yourself differently, less criticism, less perfectionism, less overanalyzing, and more internal support from your inner voice. Um, Really nurturing yourself like you are parenting a child, and really learning to talk to yourself like that in more supportive ways. Saturday, the emotional focus shifts into your creative passions, what you're sharing with the world. This could be give more emphasis and alignment to what direction you're headed with career and what you're stepping into, maybe with long term goals, social media, your visions. There's something about money or taxes or debt that challenges you emotionally to create, but it could also be a big catalyst to create, of like, oh, unexpectedly this bill came in, or I didn't know I owed this much in taxes, and now I'm more motivated to like build more stability with what I'm doing and create more. It feels like it's maybe challenging at first, and then it motivates you to make a change. And that continues through Sunday. There's more of that energy, like really kind of being challenged to take inspired action on something, and share your ideas. I think, there's been this sense of needing to hold back what you believe or what's shifting about your perspective. But, the energy as we get towards the end of this upcoming week is really on sharing your ideas more and sharing your voice more. Um, so yeah, that's how we end out the week for you, Cancer. Let me know how that resonates down in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Leo Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on you. What was coming up for you on Sunday with the full moon? It was in your area of you, which ripples out into every other area of your life. So there's a lot of culmination around stepping into a new identity, presenting yourself in a new way, sharing yourself in a way that maybe you hadn't or wouldn't before. There's a lot of emphasis on that. And also kind of that's putting tensions a little bit on your relationships or vice versa. Maybe there's been people around you that haven't been so supportive of what you want to do or how you want to be seen. And you're realizing that, maybe there needs to be some space there or some reassessment of that relationship as a whole, whether it's romantic or otherwise. Tuesday, the emotional focus shifts into your money, your resources. There could be some big emotional release around that, maybe related to overanalyzing things or perfectionism as it relates to money or resources, maybe even food. um Take it as it applies, but there's some sort of emotional release that you'll have around that, maybe even getting more organized with money, or finances or your possessions, cleaning out your closet kind of thing, so you can create space um to just feel better about what you have and maybe bring in more things intentionally that feel good for you. Wednesday, it feels like there's a lot of emotional harmony between what's changing about your money, um and also your career. There's harmony between whatever you just let go of. It feels like something is going to come in. Could be unexpected money related to changes you're making in your career. Also, the focus now, Wednesday and really into these next few months, starting on Wednesday, is what changes in your career are you taking action on? Are you externalizing that you've reflected on for the past couple months? What are you wanting to do that's different than what you had been doing before? And there could be some conversations you have to have with people in your life, again, to maybe let them go or just approach it differently. um Again, it just feels like there's not such support around you, or there's people around you that aren't super supportive of the changes you want to make in your career, and it's kind of like, no, I've really thought about this, I really know what I want to do, and I'm moving in this direction. And you have to be really disciplined with it. You have to really kind of believe in yourself, and really trust your intuition as it relates to this, and be committed to that. Thursday, the emotional focus shifts into your communication. There's a lot that's healing around your mindset and has been healing as it relates to your perspective of life, maybe even your belief systems, your spirituality, your relationship with spiritual principles or God or source, whatever you want to call it. Feels like there's a need for you to really lean on that Thursday and Friday. There could be something as well that, again, I feel like you're just going to be having conversations with people all week that are really going to inspire you, um and really going to motivate you to change your life in the ways that you've been wanting to, that have been kind of building. And also it's this energy of realizing how much you've grown and changed through these conversations you're gonna have to you are gonna have with people or gonna have to have with people to get really like no, this is how it is, this is what I'm doing, this is, support me or don't, but I'm doing it kind of thing. There might be something around that on Friday as well that really challenges, again, this old version of you that would have maybe not stood up for yourself or not voiced it or whatever it is. But it's like, no, I can't ignore this anymore because it's what you need in order to really move forward in a way that's more aligned with you and that feels more supportive and nurturing, even if it's at first a little challenging. Saturday, the emotional focus shifts into your home, your inner world, your family. There could be something around that boosts some positive conversation around support and maybe requires vulnerability on both sides to come into a greater sense of harmony within the relationship or connection. Again, doesn't have to be romantic. This could be friendships or family members or coworkers or roommates or however it shows up for you. But also this could be something that challenges you to transform something about a relationship. Or again, it's all about the people you have around you right now, Leo. It's like, do these people support you? Can you move forward in these things with them? Okay, if not, you need to reevaluate. And there could be something really major about that you end the week with kind of like this realization or this breakthrough or this understanding that you can't take the connection with you. Or maybe you need to like really surround yourself with new people altogether that support where you're headed with this career change and this direction shift. So yeah, that is the week ahead for you, Leo. Let me know how it resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Virgo Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus in your subconscious, your mental health. What came up for you with the full moon in Leo that we had on Sunday? That gets a further integration on Monday. There could be something about that puts tension on a communication you have to have, a conversation you have to have within your work or with health in general. It's really for you right now about balancing physical and mental health or balancing your subconscious or spiritual beliefs with what you need to take care of your health at this time or deal with in work and really make a priority. As we get into Tuesday, there could be a big emotional shift that happens. There's an emotional renewal that begins for you, maybe from what came up on Monday. And later on Monday, you might feel a sense of like clarity emotionally. And then into Tuesday, there's some sense of emotional release as it relates to maybe a past version of yourself, an old identity that you're stepping away from. Maybe it's as simple as learning to communicate to yourself better or different, more supportive than you would have before. And maybe there's something you really have to like let go of in order to fully step more into that on Tuesday. And that ripples out into every other aspect of your life. Wednesday, there is emotional harmony between this new version of you that's emerging and what's changing about your perspective of life, what's changing about maybe something you're wanting to learn or something you're wanting to teach. Maybe, again, your spiritual beliefs or your practices. Could also be just your communication and learning more about what you need in order to feel embodied in these new communication styles or realizing like how much you have changed and stepped into a new version of yourself through something you have to communicate that before you maybe would have strayed away from or what have you. That could also put some tension on what's going on in a relationship or put tension on the need to further commit to a relationship in your life, romantic or otherwise, maybe a friendship even. It's kind of like, how do you balance you and this new version of you that knows you need certain things and is going to set the boundary to have them, and how you have approached relationships in the past. As we head into Thursday, the emotional focus shifts into your money. There might be something about your money that is changing because of work or vice versa. There is maybe a cleanup that happens as well with your budget, or just getting really clear on like, okay, what are your non-negotiables? What are your like maybe your fun savings or whatever it is? What are your goals? Getting more clarity on all of these kinds of things and how does that contribute to your money, and your big focus on work as well as balancing your health. And it's kind of like this juggling act that you realize you need to get more, how do I say, more structured with on Thursday. So there could be a lot that you get clarity around as it relates to all of that, and maybe what you need to just have a better foundation with money and work in general. But there could be something around that as well that maybe puts tension on what's changing with taxes, debt, resources, shared resources, maybe even vulnerability as well. Again, it's a balancing act. As we head into Friday, there's emotional harmony between your work, your possessions, your money, and your routine, how you're taking care of yourself. But that also, again, could put a little tension on what's going on with community, your long-term goals or visions, how you're wanting to expand there, and what also needs to be maybe healed or dealt with in terms of resources, shared resources, investments, taxes, debt, things like that. It's kind of like all the work you've been doing accumulates to positively change and show you how much you have shifted internally, and that is being mirrored to you externally. Does that make sense? As we head into the weekend, the emotional focus shifts into your communication. There's something that maybe could challenge you emotionally as it relates to, again, needing to speak up for yourself, maybe with work or with health. Um, but it forces you to evolve and to also realize how much you have really changed your styles of communication and speaking up for yourself. As we head into Sunday and end out the week, there could further be something about that challenges you emotionally with work and needing to really take action on something and speak up for yourself in some way. But also, it positively benefits where you're headed with your long term goals, visions, career. As well as your relationships. And maybe you're feeling more supported as we end out the week with the people around you, with your community, with your friendships, your relationships in general as a whole. So that is your week ahead, Virgo. Kind of feels like a smorgasbord of things, but let me know how that resonates with you in the comments. And I will see you next week. Hi, Libra Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your subconscious. There could be something, maybe at the start of the week, you really take some time alone for yourself to reflect on your inner world and what needs to change within your mindset, your belief systems, maybe even patterns of being overly critical or perfectionistic on yourself, and needing to really shift how you talk to yourself, the inner speak you have towards yourself. There's a big emotional shift around that on Monday and into Tuesday. Also earlier on Monday, there could be something that comes about that maybe challenges your ability to focus on creating or sharing some sort of passion with the world, a creative project. And through that, there's tension between that and your long-term goals and visions or community. Maybe you're pulled to like spend time with friends on Monday, but you really need to create something or like put something out into the world that you've maybe been putting off because of what's going on with friends. And there could be some tension around that, needing to learn how to balance it. But I feel like as that shift occurs later on Monday and into Tuesday within your inner world, you get more clarity on what you need in order to come into a greater sense of balance with everything. Maybe that looks like a schedule, or maybe that looks like, okay, on this day I'm going to do this, and on that day I'm going to do this, and like really getting a little bit more disciplined with your time, and where it's going and what you're doing with it. But also realizing, again, like you're not perfect and there's no need for perfection. It's just about having a general overview of what you need and how you can make time for all the things you really truly want to do and not put them off anymore. Wednesday, there's emotional tension between what's going on in your inner world, your subconscious, maybe between physical and mental health. There's again some need for you to really emotionally focus on your mental health and what's going on in your inner world and self talk. But also, there's this pull towards being committed and disciplined to your work in some way. And so there's a little bit of a juggling act that's happening. It's like, okay, how do I really focus on these things that I want to do and these creations and these projects, and how do I really make time for them, and but also balance the need to take care of myself and also like my spiritual practices, or having alone time or whatever it is. And so there's a lot of focus on that the first half of the week. It also is going to create some positive shifts with your finances. Maybe there's something you're getting a lot more clarity or having breakthroughs around as it relates to your money, where it's going, how you're using it, investments, taxes, debt, things like that. There could be some positive support that comes in around that when you kind of again release this need to be perfect about it, or whatever it is. As we head into Thursday, the emotional focus shifts into you, yourself. There could be a really big emotional renewal that you feel as we get into Thursday, and maybe feeling more like yourself, and kind of like maybe Tuesday and Wednesday were a little bit of a dark night of the soul, where things, came up that were really hiding out. You didn't know that they were still there. And you deal with them, you look at them, you shift them, and there's an emotional renewal that comes through that. That could also positively benefit what's going on with your creative passions and with work. But at the same time, could maybe make something within a relationship a little foggy. Um, it could, there could be some things that come up of like, okay, how do I balance what's changing about my relationships with what I need to again feel supported and feel taken care of and feel like my life has balance or some semblance of it in a lot of ways. As we get into Friday, there could be some emotional challenges between you and what you're wanting to do in career that feels a lot more expansive for you. There could be something with like your appearance or identity that is just a little bit of an emotional frustration for you on Friday. But again, it's coming up so you evolve, in that you grow, and this doesn't show up in the same way that it has. There could also be something about that puts tension on healing an identity related to relationships, how you relate to other people, dating, etc. But this is such a theme of this week. There's challenges and there's harmony and there's evolution that come from those challenges, that shows you the harmony and how it's all working for you ultimately. As we head into Saturday, the emotional focus shifts into your money. It feels like whatever came up earlier in the week around money, there's more emotional drive to do something about as we head into the weekend. There could be something about money that emotionally challenges what's going on with creative passions or projects or dating, but it could also be motivation to change something about that or take action on something as it relates to those areas of your life, to really have some sort of positive transformation with money that's more aligned with what you actually want. Especially on Sunday, we really end out the week with this energy of like inspiration or motivation or a drive to change something with money related to work and career. And it's the energy of like, okay, it's all coming together. It's all like picking up in the ways that I wanted to. This is what I was kind of waiting for, is that vibe as we end out the week. So that's your week ahead, Libra. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I will see you next week. Hi, Scorpio Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your career. There could be some clarity you got around that on Sunday with the full moon we had in this area of your chart, maybe related to home as well, or things you're wanting to change around home or shift with your living situation or with family in general. And it feels like that, even though it might be challenging, it is positively boosting your career or changes you've wanted to make there in some way. As we get into Tuesday, the emotional focus shifts into your long term goals, visions, community, maybe social media, and releasing something emotionally as it relates to that, maybe tied to a mindset you had of perfectionism or being overly critical or analytical about what you were doing or what you're putting out. Maybe even as it relates to your creative projects or passions. If you are a creator in some way, there could be a version of self criticism or perfectionism that you really let go of and release around your creations and what you share. Could also show up in community, friendships, long term goals or visions. Really, like maybe if you had tunnel vision with like something you wanted to do and you're realizing actually, that was an old version of me and I don't want to do that anymore. There's a big emotional release there. So you can really further step into a new direction. Wednesday, there could be something with your relationships that you've been wanting to change and you've been reflecting on. That on Tuesday into Wednesday, you really externalize. Like maybe that's changing who you have around you or changing how you relate to your partner or in relationships in general, maybe wanting to put yourself around new people so you attract new friends or something like that. It's like you externalize a change you've been wanting to make. Could also be very related to home and family, but also kind of feels like that challenges what's going on with home and family. As we head into Thursday, though, there is a lot of emotional harmony towards, or later on Wednesday, actually. Later on Wednesday, there's a lot of emotional harmony between making that change and what has shifted with your visions and your long term goals. It's kind of like you were just waiting for a certain energy to make the changes, and it all really accumulates this week. And there's this really big buildup, and maybe something that is frustrating, that's challenging, you have to let go of or see differently or evolve. But it is something to your benefit, even if it maybe doesn't feel like it in the moment. Later on Thursday, the emotional focus shifts into your subconscious, and there's a real need to look at emotionally what's going on underneath the surface that maybe has been causing repeating patterns with relationships or with what's going on with home or family, and really kind of do some more cleanup work emotionally around that. Scorpio rising, go to the depths, really look at what's underneath the surface so you can shift it and transform it. And there could be something around that on Saturday that puts tension on an identity related to work that you've been healing, that you've been shifting, stepping into a new version of you around or with. Um, but that positively also benefits what's changing about your home and your family. And I know all these things sound counterintuitive, but it really is like things you didn't realize were gifts. You're realizing are gifts and actually divine that it all happened the way that it did, even if it was challenging at the time. Especially into Sunday as the emotional focus shifts into you, and there is this sense of emotional renewal and transformation. It could challenge something about what's changing in your home life or your family. But ultimately, again, it is positive and it could create some creative inspiration or motivation to fully embrace the direction you've headed with your passions and your creative projects. So that is your week ahead, Scorpio. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Sagittarius Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your perspective of life. There could be something really big around that shifted on Sunday with the full moon in this area of your chart. Like your belief systems are changing, how you view things are changing, how you share yourself, ideas and information is changing, what you talk about on a daily basis, maybe even where you go or who you're around. is changing. And so you get a lot more clarity on that at the start of the week, although it could feel like emotionally what is a focus for you in your belief systems, your perspective of life, challenges that or adds tension to that in a way. It does propel you to heal something with maybe dating or creative projects, an identity that was been wrapped into all of those things. And that could later on Monday positively benefit your work or a change you've been wanting to make with work in some way, although it could feel a little challenging to, again, how you viewed work up until this point. And it could just be an internal shift at first that really challenges you to look at something differently. Tuesday, the emotional focus shifts into your career, your public image. There could be something you really release related to how you've been seen or wanted to be seen to the world. There could be this idea you've had of something you've been building there, and there's a need to really emotionally release it, or at least release attachment to it so you can fully step in to some big new direction with work and career. Wednesday, it feels like that whatever's going on with career and that's maybe challenging something about your home or family or your subconscious, maybe even like childhood stuff is coming up for you to really look at and deal with on an emotional level. That could really be something you're realizing you want to take into career, maybe teach people or share with people in maybe a vulnerable way, or just in a way that is allowing you to be of service with whatever you've been dealing with that you're realizing is really been healing a lot of your inner world, that's contributing to the external change you're experiencing as well. But there could be, again, some just kind of belief system things that come up around that. As we head into Thursday, the emotional focus shifts into your community, social media, your long term goals and visions. And that shift kind of puts tension on what's going on with dating or romance or creative passions. There could be something that you start to see more clearly on Thursday because of this. Like it's not so comfortable to look at, but it does help you to see with new eyes. And that maybe propels you to change something about further about work that you've been doing or sharing ideas, how you're communicating yourself to other people in relationships, in dating, in work. It's like it's all tied together, and there could be something you just like suddenly understand, like a breakthrough, um, that positively supports the change that you're making with all of those areas. Does that make sense? Also, that continues into Friday. Although Friday, there could be something emotionally challenging within community or friends, long-term goals or visions, maybe a relationship even that challenges your expansion in resources, in needing to be more vulnerable so that you get your needs met. There could be maybe a challenging conversation you have to have with somebody related to that, and it kind of doesn't feel so comfortable, and it might create some just frustration or anger might come up around it as well, that you kind of need to voice and get out. Like let it out. It feels like there could be some healing around that emotionally on Saturday, and this newfound clarity around all of that and integration of what these wounds or triggers were, these feelings were, so that you can really like move forward with them embodied and handling them in a different way. As we end out the week, that is really where you lie. There could be some big catalyst on Sunday between what's going on emotionally for you and your subconscious, and again, what's shifting about how you communicate yourself and share your needs with those around you, so that they get met, and that you're not neglecting yourself in any way moving forward. So that's your week ahead, Sagittarius. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Capricorn Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your resources. Maybe something big for you came up with money with the full moon in Leo we had on Sunday, and you got more clarity, maybe cleaned up your budget or something like that. Maybe even are aligning more so with joy in terms of how you're making money or what you're doing with money, of like, okay, does this feel really joyful for me to spend money or invest money in these ways or save money in these ways, and aligning yourself more so with that, what feels joyful when it comes to your resources and in all aspects. As we head into Tuesday, there is a big emotional release in terms of your perspective, your view, that your worldview, like how your philosophies of life, maybe even your spiritual principles or practices. There's something you really let go of as it relates to the way you've been viewing the world around you. This could be letting go of like being overly critical of strangers or judgmental of strangers, or because that really shows you ways in which you are doing that to yourself. So there's something big emotionally that you release around that. Maybe you've been learning to talk to yourself differently, and that's really changing your worldview and how you communicate and relate to other people. As we get into Wednesday, there is something about that emotionally, that really kind of adds tension to something you've been needing to be disciplined with as it relates to your daily practice or where you go, who you talk to on a daily basis. Um, there could be this pull between your external world and your internal world. Um, Later on Wednesday, and your need to really kind of be disciplined with, again, how you're talking to yourself internally, and being your own kind of best cheerleader. There could also be a big change Wednesday into Thursday that you externalize as it relates to your creative passions or what you're wanting to do. Thursday, especially, there could be a breakthrough around money and your creative passions, but it could come through some challenge or conflict with those two areas. There could also be on Thursday, the emotional focus shifts into your career. So there could be something you're learning how to balance between your home and your career, more so that is more beneficial for you moving forward. As we get into Friday, there's a lot of emotional harmony between your career, how you're being seen and known to the world, and money. So there could be a lot more money coming in with things that you're doing or creating, but it could also emotionally challenge some way you've wanted to expand with relationships. Or maybe that's a romantic partner or not. It could be a friendship, could be anybody in your life that's not you. You're wanting to like or needing to expand in terms of relationships that feel more supportive, more nurturing. So there could be something emotionally challenging between that need to expand with relationships in that way and what's going on in your career. But later on Friday, it could really bring up something huge within a childhood wound or an old family dynamic that you've been working on healing and shifting the last few months, as well, and stepping out of an old identity around so you can step into a new identity. And it feels like there's a lot of harmony between doing that, like integrating all of that in your mindset, especially, and again, ways that you talk to yourself as we get into the weekend. Especially on Saturday, we have the emotional focus shifting into your long-term goals and visions, and challenging something about your money that has been changing or that you're wanting to change. Again, it's a lot of catalyst energy. Things might feel challenging, but it's also showing you what needs more evolution and what needs more growth, in ways that are going to benefit you moving forward long term. So that is how we end out your week, Capricorn. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Aquarius Rising. There is so much focus on you right now, and really changing a lot about yourself, your identity, your appearance, maybe even, and how you relate to the world around you due to that. due to what's really changing about your identity. There could be something on Monday that comes up emotionally within relationships related to that. Maybe you're attracting a whole new group of people around you because of how much you have changed, or your values have changed, or you're learning to live more and speak more from your values. And that's changing who, what kind of people you attract and have around you. Could be something major with a relationship as it relates to that as well, that you get clarity around. And there, that contributes to some sort of healing within your mindset, within your belief systems, within your communication styles, and further integrates this new version of yourself that you're stepping into. As we get into Tuesday, the emotional focus shifts into your resources. There could be something really big emotionally that you're releasing, maybe in vulnerability or intimacy, but also very much plays into money, debt, taxes, inheritances, investments, things related to external money stuff. And somehow releasing whatever this is supports you moving in a new direction, with your own money, or with how you make money, or your resources, and what you do with them, your possessions, all things kind of related to that. As we get into Wednesday, there's some sort of change that all of a sudden becomes external with your home or your family, or that you're wanting to maybe integrate into your home and family that you've been reflecting on for quite some time. This could be a move. This could be a lot of things, but it is a major change to your home, your family, in some way. This could even be like redecorating or something like that. But it challenges what's going on with you. Um, and that might prompt for some breakthroughs of like, oh, okay, old me would have done it this way, but now I'm realizing I want to do it this way. And moving forward with that realization, or those breakthroughs, really integrating them. There could also be later on Wednesday some emotional tension between what's going on with shared resources and what's going on with your own money. As we head into Thursday, though, the emotional focus shifts onto your mindset, your perspective of life, your worldview, your belief systems, your relationship with spirituality or learning, higher education, knowledge, teaching that knowledge, your own knowledge. But that could put, like I said, emotional tension on what's going on in your like daily life. Maybe that you have these goals or these dreams that you want to do and start to take action on, but there's some kind of like cleanup that needs to happen in your day to day, maybe in your schedule, your routines, maybe again related to those changes you're wanting to make with home. And that's kind of putting foot like challenging you, and your ability to maybe express yourself in alignment with really all of these internal shifts that are changing the way you fundamentally communicate. As we head into Friday, there's more emotional tension around that, but it's more like focused on integration. It's more so focused on, okay, what are the actual things I need to change or want to change about my schedule or my routine to take better care of myself. It's less like emotional stuff and more like, okay, what do I do with this now on Friday? And there's a lot of mental focus starting as well in your money and on maybe just getting more organized, or focused on seeing your resources differently, and maybe appreciating what you have created with money more so than you had before. On Saturday, there's emotional harmony between what's changing in you and how you're living more your values. Could could be a photo shoot opportunity. I don't know what's going. That's very specific, but um, there feels like even more emotional integration around whatever's come up this whole week. And later on Saturday, the emotional focus shifts into your career, and there could be something really massively you're wanting to change, or take action on in career that is related to what's changing about you and your identity. And again, how that's rippling out into every other area of your life. This could positively benefit your money in some way as well. So that's how we end out your week, Aquarius. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Pisces Rising. Wow, is there a big focus on your subconscious right now? um, there's a lot going on for you, Pisces Rising. I keep losing the chart and I can't, it's like giving me challenges to bring it back. So that's kind of how your energy feels. It's like, oh, suddenly you have the clarity, and then suddenly it's like, wait, where to go? But like I said in the beginning, very beginning of this video, the overview, there's stepping stones to all of this. There's breadcrumbs. We're not meant to have all the answers right now of what's coming. We just need to focus on the moment. And instead of trying to grip on so hard, what is coming up for you and alive in this moment right now? That is really the major energy. Um and letting that lead you where it's going to lead you, right? Like following the breadcrumbs. I'm loving this analogy lately. It's so true. We start the week off for you, Pisces, on Monday with the emotional focus on your day to day, your schedule, your work, your routines, and how you're balancing that with your mental health and what's going on in your inner world that you're shifting, that you're changing, that you're transforming your relationship with. Um, as we head into Tuesday, there could be some big emotional release as it relates to a relationship or other people in your life that you're shifting, that you're realizing you need to let go of or distance yourself from. And so you can maybe attract new people who are better for you, who are better aligned with these changes that you're making at a subconscious energetic level. That is really, really changing like who you even want to have around you in the first place, and who, those people supported you in a certain season or phase of your life, but maybe they don't anymore. And so there's a need to kind of detach, so you can attract better people who actually do support this version of you that you've stepped into. There could be something around that on Wednesday, that puts some tension on you and what's changing about you and how you're stepping into a new identity and sense of self. Again, it's a balancing act. It's like, okay, how do I navigate these outdated relationships um as this new version of me? But I do feel like there's going to be a breakthrough that happens emotionally for you related to that. That comes down to learning how differently you now communicate yourself or you share yourself. Maybe even how you communicate internally, and that's changed how you communicate externally. And so there's a big need, starting in the middle of the week, to externalize these changes that have been going on internally in your communication, in your belief systems, in your mindset. And there could be a breakthrough, a big catalyst around that as well on Wednesday that maybe supports a positive emotional change in your relationships. Thursday, the emotional focus shifts into your resources, your investments, taxes, shared resources, vulnerability, and intimacy as well. There could be something around that feels a little foggy at the beginning of Thursday, but it does feel like as we go through Thursday, there's more emotional harmony, there's more understanding of what the changes you want to make related to what's changing about your inner world and how you're externalizing those shifts in a massive way. On Friday, there could be something emotionally challenging between what's going on with your shared resources or vulnerability in general, and what's going on with your creative passions, or dating, romance as it applies. There could be something that just feels emotionally challenging around that, but it also supports a change or mm, more understanding, illumination of what's going on to cause that in your inner world or your subconscious. It's really like these things that you didn't understand about yourself are getting illuminated, and you're like, oh, this is what caused that pattern, or this is what caused that belief, or this is what caused that type of person to, be attracted into my life, right? Blah, blah, blah. And then you see it and you can do something with it, right? And you can shift it. It doesn't repeat the same way. And you really fully step into like your new life. That sounds dramatic, but yeah. And then there's a big mental renewal that happens related to that on Friday, especially as it relates to, again, how you're communicating yourself, sharing ideas and information with the world. Um, and also there's some sort of healing that manifests Friday into Saturday around whatever came up that felt emotionally challenging. There's this big healing or purge or clarity that comes from it. And as we end out the week on Sunday, there is again more of a catalyst around what is shifting in your mindset, your belief systems, how you view the world. It could be something that challenges you to see something differently on Sunday, but it shows you who you've become and how different that person is from who you used to be. So that's your week ahead, Pisces. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. My God, next week is quite the change starts to occur. Let me tell y'all, on February 9th, quite the change starts to occur. This is where we really start to move into new things in a major way, and things could really start to pick up very quickly, whereas things before maybe felt very slow. We start the second week of February, and things really pick up in major ways. That we just have to hope we're prepared for is what this really, really feels like. I mean, we're going to have Saturn moving into Aries this week. So the week of February 10th, I believe that happens on February 12th. Or no, I thought that happens on February 14th. February 13th. I was almost right. February 13th, Saturn moves into Aries. That is a Friday. So, this is what we've all been waiting for, like, truly. And it's the beginning of it all. So I'm really, really, really looking forward to the second week of February. I mean, like I said at the beginning, I'm just so excited to be in February now. Our lives are not going to be the same after these next few weeks. So, and that really excites me. Hope it excites you too. Let me know how your horoscope resonated with you, what you're looking forward to, the transits of February. Come join the membership for my overview of this month and all of 2026. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.